Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we've got another Teams That Slap video for you. Specifically, we're going to be looking at Starkiller today. We're going to basically break down the mechanics of his kit, the characters that we need in his team, the modding, all of that stuff that you guys need to know so that you can make this character really shine in your roster, and of course, have a team that slaps, baby. With that being said, let's get into it. All right, so to start things off here, folks, we're going to be looking at the character himself, Starkiller. With Starkiller, basically, he's got 3 Omicrons that you can or cannot use. I recommend you use them in GAC. Outside of GAC, he doesn't shine near as well. You still can have a comp with Starkiller in TW that works very well, but it's not so much because of Starkiller himself. It's more because of the Omicrons that we have from Mara Jade and from Juhani. That's a whole nother video for a whole nother time, though. Specifically, we're going to be focusing, though, here today on GAC and why he is so good in GAC when you have the right team, the right modding, all of that stuff up and running. So first and foremost, the big thing we're going to focus on, number 1, is his uniques. So he's got 2 uniques here, guys. And far and away, the unique is the number 1 most important Omicron that you need to focus on here. There is much conflict in you. I'm not going to take the time to read all of this, but basically, long story short is, this is what makes the entire team work. If you're going to prioritize something in terms of Omicron, guys, this is it. If you're going to look at a secondary emphasis from an Omicron standpoint, you want it to be your force repulse here. This doesn't seem like it's that great, the whole dispel all buffs on all enemies, but it is really, really, really important, especially when you're taking on Ray comps in particular, which, if you're not familiar with this team, guys, that's really kind of the biggest punch-up that you can get from this team. When you take the right team, the right mods, the turn order, all that stuff, you're going to be taking on GL Rays in particular. This, like I said, doesn't seem like much, but it is really important. I absolutely highly recommend it. The last Omicron that we have, guys, is the Boundless Force Throw. This is not nearly as important because you can see that basically this is only active when you are unleashed, which basically means when you hit your ultimate at the end of the battle. You can dispel all debuffs on allies, buff immunity, healing immunity can't be copied, dispelled, or resisted. It basically becomes a permanent lock debuff. So this is way more situational. It's still very good to have, don't get me wrong. But if you are really low on Omicrons and you need to prioritize an Omicron over any other ones, this is the one that you absolutely would save for last. It's not essential, but it is really good. Everything else in this kit, guys, you want it. It's really important. Long story short. Now, you can see with my Starkiller in particular, I have him Relic 8. That was partially for the benefit of the guild, but also the higher the relics on this character, the far better he's going to hit. Mostly because, A, you want him to have loads and loads and loads of offense. The offense is probably the number 1 most important part of his kit. The second most important part of his kit is his health. His health has a lot to do with his ult. When he pulls that ship down at the end, the damage is based off of his health. So the more health you have on him, the better. You can see from a mod standpoint, I've got offense mods on him. I've got health mods on him. He is just absolutely loaded up with the offense and the health. You can see he's got plus 42,000 health. Speed on him is good, but not essential. You can see I've got plus 110. Not by any means nowhere near my best mods in terms of speed, guys, but good speed never hurt anything. Crit damage, I do have some extra crit damage on him there. And then obviously you can see the offense, 3,600 offense there. So he's built to hit hard. He's built to be really thick and really do a lot of damage when he pulls his ultimate at the end. Now, we're not going to go into near as much detail on the other 4 members of this team. I'm just going to give you kind of an overview of what they need, what the most important thing is, and then we're going to get into turn order and all that stuff. First of all, with Palpatine, he doesn't need to have a ton of speed. You just need him to be thick. As much health and protection as possible. Some people would argue to go with protection because of his leadership and the way his leadership works. I would actually argue that the health is a little bit more important because he can heal up way more than he can recover protection. But an ample amount on both ends is never a bad thing. Mara Jade here, folks. Speed, speed, and more speed. You can see that she does have an Omicron on her. That is for TW, though. That's not important here in GAC. With her, I have some of my best speed mods on her. Not my top tier speed mods, but very good ones. You can see I have plus 159 for her. If you've got God mods, you'll see some people that have her up in the 370s. If you have really, really top tier mods. Visas Mar, basically you just want her to have lots and lots of health in particular, guys. Her speed is somewhat important. We'll come back to that in a little bit. And then Plo Koon is actually my preferred. I had the choice of using Old Ben or Plo Koon. I actually prefer Plo Koon from a Starkiller team standpoint, simply because he has two abilities that really help a lot here. One, he provides turn meter gain with his Take Charge special. And two, his basic dispels debuffs. Those are really, really, really great abilities to have on this team. Plus, this frees up your Old Ben to go elsewhere. If you've got Leia, he can go there. If you've got, you know, a Jedi team, you need him elsewhere, you can put him elsewhere. It really allows him to be a little lot more flexible than what Plo Koon is. And Plo Koon really does the job quite well in this team. Now, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and look a little bit at the turn order that we want here from this team, the opening turn order, and then we're going to check out some actual footage on how the battles go and things like that. So number one thing here with this team, folks, you want Mara Jade to be the fastest. You want her to go first. When she goes, she's going to get a lot of that turn meter train going and get Palp going. As Palp goes, the whole team starts rolling. Palp does not actually need to be that terribly fast because he's just going to get turn meter over and over and over and over again. You then want Visas Mar to actually be the next person that goes outside of Palpatine, because you want her armor pen up that she does. Her piercing strike ability here, she gives, or sorry, defense penetration up. You want that to come next in the turn order. And then you want, at least in my opinion, Starkiller to go next. What he does is he does that opening repulse move, folks. He dispels all of those debuffs, does massive amounts of damage sometimes, possibly can kill a character in one shot with that ability because of all of those things working. I have Plo Koon going last in the turn meter there, mostly because I want that damage immunity to stay up there on him. And two, I want them to all have their turns before he gives them more turn meter. That's just the way I prefer to do that. So with that being said, folks, we're going to go ahead and pivot over to our footage and see some of this stuff in live action here. All right, so first and foremost, before we get into this first battle, let's talk real quick about Datacrons as well, folks. With Datacrons, as just a kind of a side bonus little information for you here, basically you want offense, you want any kind of penetration you can get your hands on if possible, and then you want health. Crit damage also is not a bad thing either. The current Quran that I am running is loaded up with health, loaded up with crit damage, and then obviously you guys can see is a Visas Quran, which helps a lot too. It all depends on the Quran that you have in terms of if you're looking for a Quran, what Quran to run. But again, offense, health, crit damage, any of that stuff is great. So our opening team that we're facing here, guys, you can see this is a GL Ray with Ben, BB-8, Holdo, and then JTR. Basically, this is pretty much going to be like the easiest comp that you would face outside of a team not having JTR. If a team doesn't have JTR, it's even easier. But you can see with the opening sequence that we have there, our Mara Jade went first. Palp actually ended up going next just because of the turn meter train. It's not because of his speed. His turn meter train just pushes him that fast. Eventually, Visas goes, and then Starkiller eventually goes next, does that repulse, and blows a bunch of stuff up. The basic concept of the process of this, folks, is you want to keep people stunned as much as possible. You want to keep these blue buffs off of GL Ray in particular. If she has 3 stacks of those, she's going to do some serious damage on your team. Real quick, just want to apologize. We were playing bingo from the footage from some of these. So if you see some bingo footage pop up, folks, that's from our live stream on Friday nights. But you can see we're basically at a point here where we cannot kill Ray. Basic concept against this team in particular is that you have to kill Ben before you can kill Ray. Ben was in damage immunity. We couldn't kill him. Basically what happens here in this process is you've just got to keep going for Ray, take those blue buffs off of her, and then you just kind of have to wait and bide your time until it's your turn again. It's just the nature of the beast when you're facing a team like this. You can see that's pretty much what we're doing here. We essentially are just biding our time as we wait for that to roll on. Let's go ahead and speed up our footage here, folks, so we're not waiting quite so long for all of this to go through. Once she comes out of her ult, she'll hit us again. You can see we're fine. We survived it. We did pretty well with that. Now we're going to go over to Ben solo, kill him. Once he's down, then we can take out Ray. And then we can slowly kill off the rest of the team. Ideally, pull that ship down. You get yourself your full banners. So, that is, like I said, team number 1, probably the easiest comp that you're going to see. The next comp we're looking at here, folks, is with the handbag boys. We've got Finn and Poe. They can add a lot more offense to this team. So you really want to prioritize, if you can, getting Finn out ASAP. You can see we went for him pretty quickly. We were hoping to get a one-shot kill there. We didn't get it. We did, however, get it on Poe, which was great. That's my dog in the background. That's Fritz. Sorry, guys. If you can get them out in one shot, that's what you want to try to go for. You want to try to get them so that they are not in the yellow yet, and then hit them real hard with Starkiller. This is why Starkiller's offense is the #1 priority. Some people might say health is more important. It's not. Offense is still the priority, folks, because most of the battle, it's going to be about his offense. The health really only comes into play when you get to that ult and you pull that ship down. Does it help to have survivability? Yes, absolutely it does. But you really, 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 really need the offense numero uno more than anything else. You can see we're just kind of waiting for her to get out of her ult. She came out of her ult, kill Ben. Now we're going to move over, kill Ray. Pull the ship. She is really thick and hard to kill, but we got her. There are a couple instances, guys, I want to point out, and this is probably the most difficult team, by the way, to take on because of L3 being here. The other one version of this is with Swordy in it. That, in my experience, is not significantly different than this. It's still the same concept. But one thing I want to point out with some of the footage that we're seeing, there are times where I am not immediately going for Ben to kill him, like in the last battle. You do want to, at times, try to stall out so that you can pull that ship down. That's one of the biggest things you've got to be careful of. You don't want to actually kill them too fast at the end and not be able to pull that ship. If you don't get that ship pulled in time, you're going to lose a lot of banners. So there were times in this fight, I believe it happens as well, the previous fight you just saw, where we weren't killing Ben right away because we wanted to be able to get that ship pulled down to bring all of our banners back up and get a full 65. You can see again here, folks, we're just basically waiting on Ray to do her ult. We've survived it. Again, Palp is modded super duper thick so we can survive those attacks. And now we're just going to go take out Ben, take out Ray. And now actually is one of the trickiest parts of this, folks, is taking out JTR. We got lucky there at the end. If you get up to a point here where it's just down to JTR and you take a long time to get to her, folks, her mastery is evasion, and it can be extremely difficult to get her out of the match if you let them go too long. That is one thing. Sometimes you want to wait and purposely slow play it to get those banners back. But at the same time, if Ray gets off 2 ults or more, there is a good chance you're going to really struggle to get JTR out at the end because of her evasion. I want to point out the best way to take her out is not through the basic. She's going to dodge the basic most of the time. But trying to use that last special ability because it cannot be evaded. You can see that's what we used here at the very end. She couldn't evade it. Almost 100,000 damage on it. And we got her out. So, hopefully you guys learned a lot from our video today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you guys like, subscribe, and then turn on notifications so you don't miss any other videos that we've got coming out. Last but not least, if you guys want to check out any more videos in our Teams That Slap series that break down specific characters, the teams, how to use them, so that you can slap your opponent into next week. Make sure you guys check out the next video.